I love
whatever you want. Yeah,
Right.
promotion material,
Right.
bonuses, praise, and incentives.
Right. Right.
That would be, yeah. I'd kill to have somebody like that in my life.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly. They
yeah.
don't let go of those people, right?
Oh, yeah. You become priceless.
Welcome again to It Doesn't Take a Genius, conversation with introspective perspectives and pithy points of view. Here are your hosts, my friends, Max and Marty.
I think that's Mark and Mike.
Yeah, whatever.
Ramsey.
Oh, hi, Marshall. I need to have some sort of way to respond to you, but usually something goofy happens right at the start, and I'm at a loss for a good comeback. So,
Oh, yeah.
Marshall,
After 20 years, you're still like, what is he doing?
why did he just make the gigantic yawn face, but on purpose, and then pressed record? I don't know. I don't know why he did that, but he did.
Yeah, that's my Showtime face.
I Showtime face.
Yeah, like I gotta get all the face muscles warmed up there. So yeah, Sally sells seashells by the seashore. You got to get the lips working. It's all gonna happen. Speaking of working,
Yeah.
very proud to announce that my college-age daughter is
Yes.
starting her first corporate gig in literally 1 week. Paying, did I mention paying gig? Very excited about the non-free internship opportunity. So this was a corporate one. This is a huge international corporation. She'll be in the it's interesting, a hybrid and remote. So I think in the office 3 days a week, working remotely 2.
Oh, getting that experience too.
Yeah, so they've kept some lessons from the pandemic apparently in this corporation. So I guess the question would be, what advice would we give these young people who are literally getting out of high school, getting out of college for the summer, and heading into the workplace?
I love that question. As a matter of fact, I have a nephew who is going to work for a local business that I am a big fan of, and I guess I won't say anything else because it's not my story to tell, but extremely proud of him.
You're a cult member for this business.
I am a cult member for this business. You are 100%
you take
correct.
a loyalty to some extreme no one's quite aware.
Right. Well, and I should tell you, look what I wore for you today.
I can't see it. Oh, button-down collars. Nice.
Button-down collar. I found the one actual button-down collar shirt I have, and the reason is it's from Seath Company, my father's business.
Oh,
so that's Dad's logo for when we'd go for trade show gigs with him.
Oh yeah. Well, it's a good company because he's got embroidered shirts.
When you have an embroidered shirt, I mean that really speaks quality, doesn't it?
Yeah, right? American success.
Yeah, I like to have people rub the shirt, and I say, you know what you're feeling there, and then they'll start saying, cotton, polyester, and I'll interrupt them and say quality. That's what you're feeling. You're feeling quality. Anyway, so yeah, family businesses, big fan. My dad's business, my nephew being a part of a business that I'm a big fan of. And so I've been thinking the same thing. And I don't know how much this will help Taylor, but I'm going to attempt to help my nephew Noah here. And I've got some thoughts. 2 things to do, 2 things to be aware of. And this is I'm trying to strip it down to basic stuff that I just remember from my days of interning and being a student, or being a new employee. 2 things to do. The first is to really proactively listen. So there's a Bible verse in the letter by James that says, "Be slow to speak, slow to get angry, quick to listen." And I think it was Lincoln who said something to the effect of, "Better to be silent and thought of as a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt." Right. There's a little bit of that going on, right? Just this idea that I'm going to be silent and instead of appearing foolish, I'm going to be silent and learning. I'm going to be taking it in. And I think part of being quick to listen is asking questions, right? This is the only time in your career where you will be so new that nobody expects you to know anything anyway. Ask all the questions. Ask as many questions as you can. and learn and learn and learn and just be a sponge. People are going to assume you don't know, so you might as well ask the question. So that's my first to do is to proactively listen.
Well, and I think that's powerful. And I think it's one of the ways Taylor got her internship. There was probably 100 plus people applying for this single position. And we were brainstorming questions. You know, they always go, "Oh, you know, do you have any questions?"
Yep.
You know, and you don't want to sit there like an idiot. So the question we came up with was, if the tables were turned and you were me, what would you ask?
Ooh, that's good. Yeah.
And the interviewers loved it.
Yeah.
They were like, well, if I was sitting there, yeah, the one thing that you haven't asked me, I would ask. And then they were talking.
Yeah, and then they're the ones talking, right?
Yeah. So she was able to, as you suggest, right? She became the listener.
Yeah.
But it all came about because, yeah, we had crafted this wonderful question that got the interviewer really thinking, and then was sharing what was important to them. Right, here's was the thing I was looking for. You didn't ask about it, but let me tell you about it.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, the listening became paramount, but it wouldn't happen without the great question.
So our last episode has taken off a little bit already. It's pretty fresh off the press right now, but has already sort of got some attention. And we talked about how why is not a good word for a manager coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we can say here, why is an excellent question for an employee trying to understand what the heck is going on within an organization, within a process.
Mm-hmm.
There still might be times where you need to be careful about how you ask it. Like, you know, what makes this important, instead of saying, why do we do this?
Mm-hmm.
But why questions are really powerful. I'm thinking of a lot of things we've learned about from lean manufacturing and lean process improvement, that, you know, you ask why maybe 5 to 7 times before you really get to the root thing that's important about whatever you're learning, the cause behind it, the purpose behind it.
Mm-hmm.
So I would encourage why to be injected into some of this proactive listening, but that kind of leads into the other to-do item. So do proactively listen. The other is do proactively serve. And so here's my thinking on this is I say proactively serve because being proactive is the opposite of being reactive. And you and I have seen so many employees over the years. Frankly, in earlier iterations of my life, I was one of them, where I was being reactive. I was sort of checking a box. And it's easy for good students to do this, right? Because they know how to play the game. They know how to get the good test results. And I was pretty good about going right up to that level, checking all those boxes and not going any further. And that's not a good way to be in a career or to be a worker of a team. So I think the reason that is because of one of your favorite quotes that's been attributed to Teddy Roosevelt, that, you know, people don't care how much you know. I mean, who cares what kind of a student you were? They want to know how much you care. How much are you really involved and invested in being a good employee here? So don't check a box, act toward a purpose. You may have to ask some why questions, by the way, to find out what that purpose is. Why do we do this part of the gig? Oh, that's the bigger picture. That's what I need to be aware of. I could be going a little above and beyond to do that, instead of just checking boxes and then getting back to surfing dank memes on my smartphone while I wait for the next customer to show up. Right? That's what that usually looks like.
I have to admit, I've never searched dank memes. But I've now got it on my list.
You're really missing out. I'm not going to lie to you. It's the zeitgeist of our times.
Okay, I'll noted. So when you were talking about that, my mind kind of went in a slightly different direction.
Okay.
You know, I don't want to name drop, but yeah, I just spent this week at the Ritz-Carlton. You know, I wasn't paying, but yeah, it was part of a work gig. But one of their, you know, they always talk about ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Which is, you know, their big mantra. But one of the things they also talk about in their vision is that their goal is to fulfill the unexpressed desires, wishes of the client.
Yes.
And so before you say you need it, they hand it to you.
Right.
You know, you're up in front of the room talking and your voice is a little scratchy. Boom, glass of water.
Yeah.
You know, you're standing in the hallway, you're kind of looking around. Boom, somebody's standing there saying, "Are you looking for the restroom?"
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Right.
actually, I was.
Yeah.
And so when I think of serve,
Yep.
once I grasp what what's going on through questioning and things like that, my goal is to provide the people I'm working with what they need right before they ask for it.
You have me thinking about Atlanta companies that are legendary for customer service. We've got Ritz-Carlton, we've got Chick-fil-A. And Chick-fil-A had a gentleman who I think came in to sell kitchen appliances and help with layout. Well, the founder, Truett Cathy, saw what he had there and elevated the guy eventually into running the company, president of the company. And I think he was there for the big push before they were sort of this, publicly known entity for the Lord's Chicken. He was the one that sort of pushed them into being a really professional outfit that went out from malls and so on. And Jimmy Collins, I believe is his name. And I think in his retirement, he wrote this book called Creative Followership. And the basic idea is find out what the boss doesn't want to do or can't do and offer to do that for him, serve in that way. And so that's a great example of proactive service. You can do it for the client, the end user, the customer. You can do it for your coworkers, for your boss, but figure out what's a purpose you could have beyond just checking the boxes of your tasks and going into serving.
Right. Well, I absolutely love that. Yeah, and I can almost hear somebody saying, "Hey, I know you hate doing this, so I went ahead and sorted these reports for you."
Yeah. Oh,
Whatever you want. Yeah,
Right.
promotion material,
Right.
bonuses, praise, and incentives.
Right. Right.
That would be, yeah. I'd kill to have somebody like that in my life.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly. They
Yeah.
don't let go of those people, right?
Oh yeah, you become priceless. Yeah, if you're doing the stuff that I like, just exhausts me. Yeah, you're my guy.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
All right. Well, so the other side of this, those are two things to do, and here are two things to be aware of, just to be thinking about as you go through your work. And you kind of have to think of them both at the same time. They're sort of what you're doing at two different scales. One scale is the job. Don't lose sight of the job. You were hired to do X, make sure that X gets accomplished. All right. And the other scale is that you have a life, right? You have a life. The life, by the way, includes relationships with the people you are working with.
Okay.
I think it is so easy for people to pay attention to one and ignore the other. They're so good at working on their big picture career and growing themselves. And maybe they're really good at developing a network and getting to know all these people in their workplace. And that's all great stuff and all really important, but they don't execute on the job. And then you have other people that it's actually the opposite, right? Like they know how to do that job and they're so good at that job, but they miss the bigger picture and sometimes miss opportunities for developing their network, the relationships around them. They miss opportunities for the friendships, frankly, that go well beyond the work, right? Like the job's going to end at some point and you still end up with, lifelong friends, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's part of why you and I are together.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I literally got a snap on Snapchat, because I'm youthful that way.
Oh, geez.
And it was from a manager who was at one of my stores. He's now left that store. But the snap was of him and the manager at the store that he left out playing golf this morning.
Oh,
So yeah,
Yeah.
the professional relationship as far as togetherness goes is gone, but the friendship lived on.
I love that.
And yeah, you're like, that's how you would hope life would be.
And I'm not saying that, you need to find lifelong friends at every job you have. My point is just that both of those things are happening at the same time.
Mhm.
Relationships are going and the job's going, and you were hired for the job, and the relationships are the things that last, right? Those are lifelong, perhaps I'd even say eternal impacts that you're having. And so you don't want to miss those opportunities either. So you gotta sort of have that tension in place to manage. So two things to do, two things to be aware of: proactively listen, proactively serve, and then be aware of the scale of the job and be aware of the scale of life and relationships in general. Those are the things that I would suggest for somebody starting out.
Wow. I think we could jumpstart the career of many a Gen Z. And
Yes.
yes. And if you are a Gen Z and you're watching this, you have to pay attention to us because we're old.
Yes.
we know stuff, not because we're smart, right? It doesn't take a genius. We've just made every mistake that's been out there, and
Oh.
we've learned from them. So, yeah, don't think we're operating in a higher plane. Nope, we just made all the mistakes, and we're trying to just bulldoze a path for you where you don't have to make as many as we did.
Mike, my first internship, day one, I was assigned a spreadsheet where I was supposed to go through and create a database. And I turned around and it was 6 p.m. and they were turning the lights off. And I hadn't talked to anybody. And the office staff were saying, do you like, we probably ought to go, Mark. And I hadn't got to know anybody there day one. It was so like humbling to realize how focused I was on that job. But I was just checking boxes, right? I wasn't thinking about what are we doing here? What's the purpose of this? And I wasn't thinking about the relationships either. So I have made all these mistakes, and it's why I gave the advice. So hope it helps.
Oh no, that's good stuff. So yeah, we'll stop it here. Just to take into account the attention span of the Gen Z and how that they want to use their time in a valuable way. And we'll turn it over to our announcer. Take it away, Mr. Wolf.
And that's a wrap. It doesn't take a genius. The blog dedicated to reducing the irreducible. Next time, prime numbers. What makes them so special? Join us then, and thanks for listening.
That's good enough.